In this screencast, I want to show you how to make a pressure weather map. It's important to remember that average atmospheric pressure on Earth is 1,013 millibars. Any number that will be higher than 1,013 will be considered an area of high pressure. Any number less than 1,013 will be considered an area of low pressure. The first thing to do on the weather map will be to come to the Insert ribbon and the Text tools and create some symbols for high and low pressure. Lows are typically indicated by a large red L. I'm going to take this low and I'm going to move it over to this area of low pressure, the 999 I see here in eastern Tennessee. I see another area of low pressure, so I'll copy this L and I'll move it over here into Arizona where I see this area of 1,009. Back to the Insert ribbon, I'm going to create a symbol for a high pressure. Highs are indicated by a large blue H. Now I see an area of high pressure between Wyoming and Montana, so I'm going to place the high between the 1,028 here and here. The next job will be to create contour lines or isobars around the areas of pressure. I'll start by creating a line for 1,000 millibars. Now the 1,000 line will encircle all the numbers less than 1,000. So just a small loop here at the center of this low pressure. I'll change pen colors. Next, 4 millibars up, I'll create a line for 1,004 millibars. Any number less than 1,004 will be within this loop. Changing pen colors, I'll draw a line for 1,008 millibars. Any number less than 1,008 will be within this loop. Finally, one last pen change, a line for 1,012. Any number less than 1,012 will be in this final loop. Now I also need to do a 1,012 line around this low in the southwest United States. After completing isobars around the low pressures, I'll change pens and do contours around the areas of high pressure. I'll start out by drawing the isobar for 1,028 millibars. This will be just a small loop around these two measurements of 1,028. Changing pen colors, 1,024. This loop will include all the numbers greater than 1,024. The next line, 1,020, will be all the numbers greater than 1,020 within the loop. Finally, one last color change, 1,016. Again, all the numbers greater than 1,016 will be within my loop. These weather maps tend to be fairly difficult because you have to remember the lows and the highs will shift places across the United States. They're not in the same place from day to day. But as with professional weather forecasters, One thing I encourage you to do once you complete your weather map is check your work against other people's professional jobs. Normally, I'd suggest you go to a website. In this case, I've already downloaded the web images, and so we can see what some of the other forecasters did with this similar information. Here's a map from the Weather Channel. Once again, we can see the low here around Tennessee and Kentucky, the high over Wyoming. The folks at W Underground, a website we've been using in class, again indicate the low pressure in this area with a high pressure in this area, the white lines being the isobars. Here's one more map from the University of Illinois. This one looks very similar to the one that I just completed, with a low pressure here in Tennessee and a high pressure in Wyoming and Montana. Coming back to the map we just drew, keep in mind isobars will be drawn every 4 millibars, and each line includes all the numbers lower than the given value around the lows, or all numbers higher than the given value around the highs. Also remember that 1013 is average pressure, so between 1012 and 1016 there will be no pressure lines because that is neither high nor low pressure.